All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash, which is the true name of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, our two great kings, the gods that the King James Bible speaks of, which again, the true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, who the world of ignorance calls Christ, true name is Yahweh Shai. Second of all, I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles of a great millstone, Elder Tahar, and on down that rule well. And third of all, I want to give a peace and safety to the hopeful elect out there, the brothers that push this truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and all truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. Alright, so I just want to do a short in transit lesson, late night in transit lesson, or however long the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai allows it to go. And I want to name the video, Will this be the last year for physical cash? Alright, and Lord wills, brothers can see on the screen, the motivation for this lesson comes from the front page of the Drudge Report. Alright, the top story or whatever. All right, and it says dollar on track for worst year in modern history. How low can it go? All right, and throughout the last few years, all right, through the last few administrations, starting at like can't remember, you know, because it's a chart. There's actually a chart that the guy Mike from I forgot the brothers knew what I'm talking about, the black bald guy from Detroit, the Jake from Detroit, the Jake from Detroit. I forgot the name of his channel, but he actually made a chart showing throughout the last few administrations how each administration, you know, furthered the valuing of the dollar. All right, and it really started tanking, all right, during Clinton administration, from Clinton to the George Bush Jr. or whatever, and to Obama. All right, and from there on out, it's just been steady declining. All right, declining like crazy. All right, which is a part of the plan. The plan is to, you know, because fiat currencies aren't meant to last forever. All right, you have examples like the German Deutschmark, Slovakia, and you see like all these other currencies around the world. All right, hyperinflating on itself. All right, which that's what's happening to the U.S. dollar now. All right, it's in inflation, an inflationary period. All right, which eventually is going to lead to hyperinflation. All right, and a good example of hyperinflation, what hyperinflation looks like, is countries like Zimbabwe. All right, when you got to make a pretty much a $1 trillion or $1 million bill, and it don't buy nothing. All right, it buys nothing at all, but like a few groceries and maybe some bananas and some bread and you know, some water or whatever. All right, a few items. We're talking $1 trillion bill. $1 trillion bill. I think it's a trillion. If not a trillion, it's a million. They got $1 million bill. All right, or whatever. And you need a grocery cart full of them just to buy a few items. All right, that's what you call that's what's called hyperinflation, which the U.S. dollar and these other global currencies are well on its way to that status. All right, which is all a part of the plan. Again, the last few administrations have all furthered the tanking of the of this fiat currency, which again is all a part of the plan, which is prophecy. All right, which is prophecy, because the scriptures say in Revelation the 13th chapter, it speaks about no man being able to buy and sell unless they have that mark. The mark being the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip technology. All right, and once physical cash is pushed out of the way, however the Heavenly Father, you know, does that, all right, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai does that. Once it's pushed out of the way, all right, then, you know, they'll more than likely go to a CBDC system, or who knows, it might get fast tracked. The chip might get fast tracked, and we skip CBDCs, all right, and go straight to the mark. All right, but we gotta, sit back, watch, wait, and see what happens. But more than likely, it looks like it's going to a CBDC, which is a central bank digital currency. All right, which is nothing but a build up to the microchip, which again is the mark of the beast. All right, so again, like the front page of the Drudge is saying, how low can it go? All right, again, the value of the dollar is tanking every day. All right, especially when the C19 pandemic started. All right, well, even before that, the dollar had lost like 80 to 90% of its purchasing power. All right, so again, this dollar is on borrowed time, man. All fiat currency, especially the US dollar, is on borrowed time, and we're about to see it be utterly and completely pushed out of the way. And again, the physical is going to be pushed out of the way. All right, and all forms of payment, any form of payment that you want to make is going to be paid digitally. All right, and again, the end game of that is the mark. All right, the mark of the beast, which is again the microchip technology. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 19. And they should cast their silver in the street, and their gold should be removed. Right, the Lord said they should cast their silver in the street, and their gold should be removed. What's the modern day silver and gold that we use here today in Babylon the Great, and pretty much throughout the four corners of the globe? Is fiat currency, paper money. So the US dollar or the Federal Reserve note today is the so-called silver and gold. Even though you still can, trade silver and gold, for certain things, but the modern day gold and silver today, the gold and silver today is in America is Federal Reserve notes. So the Lord said they're going to cast it into the streets, just like you have you go to a restaurant and you get takeout or whatever, and they wrap it up in some paper or whatever, and you just throw it out the window. All right, because it's worthless. That piece of paper is worthless. That piece of wrap that the food came in is worthless, and that's why people are just chuck it out the window. All right, that's why people are just chuck it out the window, because it's worthless. All right, but and the same thing is going to happen to fiat currency. People are just going to toss it out in the street, throw it out in the street, because it's worthless. All right, it'll have the same value again as any restaurant that you go to and you get takeout and they wrap, like you get a sandwich or something from Publix or something, all right, and they wrap it up in the bag, and after you eat the sandwich, you just throw the plastic out because it's worthless. All right, you throw the paper out, Salakia, because it's worthless. All right, and the same thing is going to happen with the US dollar. People are just going to throw it out into the streets because it's going to be absolutely worthless. All right. Niggas partying all fucking ready, man. It's fucking 1 o'clock at night. Niggas still out here with their fucking music. But anyway, yeah, it's gonna be completely and utterly worthless. And we know, all right, anytime you're speaking on pretty much finances or the chip or whatever, the C-hip, gotta come out. This Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. He calls it, and he give a Salakia, verse 16, Salakia, and he calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. All right, which that mark represents the microchip. That mark, Salakia, is the but that word mark goes back to the Greek charagma. All right, which means to make a cut or incision in the flesh. They're gonna cut open your flesh with a needle, all right, syringe or whatever, and inject the microchip inside of you. All right, verse 17, and then no man might buy or sell, say he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you're not going to buy or sell anything. All right, you're not going to be able to purchase anything unless you have, all right, that C-hip, all right, the microchip, all right, embedded inside your body. So that tells you that this paper money has to go. This paper money system eventually will be pushed out of the way, and it's a strong chance that could be this year. All right, a very strong chance that could be this year. All right, like this front page of the Drudge is saying here, dollar on track for the worst year in modern history, the worst ever. All right. And how low can it go? All right. So it's a strong chance by the end of this year or going into the beginning of next year. All right. Fiat currency could be a complete another thing of the past. All right. And everything will be made digital. All right. Everything will be made digital. You want to buy and sell anything, you're going to have to pay for it, or the whole system will go digital. All right. You know, from CBDCs to eventually it'll lead to the CBDCs, which eventually will lead to the Karagma. All right. If you want to use those CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, or Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ripple, whatever you got, all right, you're going to have that CHIP in order to use it. All right. And that's what's coming in the very near future. All right. So with that, I pray this in transit lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory again unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Quadash. Double honors again to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and safety to you brothers that push this truth and sincerity. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.